From the subreddit Tukes Chromosomes. Apparently, I'm a slut for moving on after being stood up. I had a date planned with a guy, Ben. I show up at the bar we're supposed to meet at, get a table, and then I just wait. 15 minutes pass, then 20 minutes, and I send off a message, no reply. More than 30 minutes pass and there's no sign of him. I check my phone, no messages, no missed calls, nothing. So now I'm feeling really down because I thought I've been stood up, which is a completely reasonable conclusion to make. Since I'm lucky enough to have a table at the bar, it's a really popular bar and one of my favorites, and I put in effort to dress up cute, I decide to stay and salvage what I can of my night and enjoy myself. So I hop back onto my dating app and I ask someone out to meet me. Hours later I'm actually having a really great time. My new date is funny, and charming, and sweet. But then Ben just shows up in the bar and starts screaming at me for being a slut and entertaining another guy. No explanation for why he showed up now instead of at our agreed time. No apology. He yelled about how I just wanted to rub it in his face. I honestly thought I had been stood up and he wasn't going to show up. He yelled about how I moved on fast. What did he expect? That I would just wait around for him forever? It was supposed to be a first date, so we didn't even have an established relationship. At that point he's just some crazy stranger yelling me and the guy I'm on an actual date with. At least the bartenders were good and got him kicked out fast. He yelled about how I was in the wrong for staying at the same bar. Why wouldn't I have? It's a good bar, and I really like it. It seems so entitled to me. That he would expect me to wait around for him, or that he thought I would slink away in shame and go home or something instead of actually salvaging my efforts and enjoying my night out. But at the same time I'm not surprised he felt that entitled. I've had people in real life take his side and say that I was wrong and I should have waited. Or that I was wrong for not leaving the bar immediately when I thought he wasn't going to show up, and that I was wrong for getting him kicked out. I've even had people say I was wrong for swiping on a dating app instead of chatting up guys physically present in the bar instead, as if they deserve some sort of weird priority. So I guess I'm just here for a sympathetic ear to my vent. You keep saying I thought I had been stood up but you had been stood up. At least Ben really made it clear what type of asshole he was. Arriving, very, late, no messages, no explanation, first reaction is yelling instead of asking about you, all at a first date? Nice score, bro. +1 for the bartender smile. Consider this a dodged bullet. I'm just going to ignore Ben. He's clearly an asshole. You need better people in your life in general if others were telling you that you were wrong for any of it. Ben wasn't the problem with the story as I read it. He was a joke of a man who will hopefully die old and lonely. The problem is that literally anyone in your life felt the need to correct you. Cut those assholes out. Ick. I'm sorry that happened to you. I don't blame you at all for moving on. Or for not chatting up the people at the bar around you. I'm a stickler for punctuality, to the point that I'd rather be 5 to 10 minutes early than on time. When I met my husband for the first time, I was early. I did it deliberately so I had time in case I got lost on my way to the restaurant or if traffic was bad. This dude didn't even have the balls to tell you he was running late or ask to reschedule? You gave him the courtesy of waiting over 30 minutes before you did something else with someone else. You don't owe him shit at that point, and anyone telling you you're in the wrong can stick it. There's literally nothing to move on from. You gotta love it when the trash takes itself out. Sounds like you dodged a bullet. Ben seems like an A/hat. And you were 100% not wrong for moving on. A half-hour no-show and no call/text is more than long enough. Good on you for salvaging your night and having what sounds like a good time until A/hat decided to show up. Yeah, this was a power play. He wanted you to feel down in the dumps and go home and cry and fret and wonder what's wrong with you. Why would a nice guy do this to you? Then he could come with a lying for why he couldn't come. Work came up. Family emergency. Mugged, he'll arrange a second date, and start the negging and the veiled insults and the gaslighting sprinkled with sweet approval and validation every now and then randomly, and soon, you'll be jonesing for his approval like a junkie for a fix, and 2 years later, if he waits that long, he'll hit you for the first time and you'll be too stuck and addicted to leave. Instead, you flip the script and fast forward it to the end chapter where you get him to freak out on you by just doing what a reasonable person does but what he doesn't want you to. Good for you, you 100% did the right thing, and anyone who gives you any flack for it is indulging in plain misogyny. Nothing of value was lost. How was your real date? I don't think you were wrong at all. If he didn't have the respect to tell you he was going to be hours late, then he's forfeited any and all of your attention. I think you were entirely reasonable. I'm sorry people have been making you out to be the bad guy in a situation where he is entirely to blame. People can be so sexist, sometimes without realizing it, sometimes just because. I hope things with the second guy weren't ruined because of his outburst. I've had people in real life take his side and say that I was wrong and I should have waited. You did wait, for more than 30 minutes. Or that I was wrong for not leaving the bar immediately when I thought he wasn't going to show up. Why? Why would you have to cut your evening short because the clown didn't show up? And that I was wrong for getting him kicked out. He did that himself by acting like a fucking lunatic. I've even had people say I was wrong for swiping on a dating app instead of chatting up guys physically present in the bar instead. Why? Whoever these fucking morons are. Cut them out of your life. You don't need people like that.